U.S. Marines and Navy personnel have ranked these films based on tactical accuracy, not just Hollywood spectacle. One submarine disaster film was so realistic that the Pentagon actually restricted its distribution for years. Let's count down the 15 greatest submarine movies ever made, according to military experts who've actually sat in those steel tubes. Subscribe and buckle up, because we're going under. Number 13. The Hunt for Red October. 1990 Tom Clancy's masterpiece adaptation became the gold standard for submarine thrillers when it hit theaters in 1990. Sean Connery plays Captain Marco Ramius, a Soviet submarine commander who decides to defect with his prized nuclear submarine, the Red October. Alec Baldwin stars as the American CIA analyst trying to convince his superiors that Ramius wants to come over to the West. What military experts consistently praised was director John McTiernan's obsessive attention to submarine hardware and naval protocols. The production consulted with real submarine commanders and weapons officers to ensure every detail from sonar ping patterns to torpedo launch sequences felt authentic. One retired U.S. Navy captain stated that The Hunt for Red October was the most tactically sound submarine movie ever produced. The film's climactic cat-and-mouse game between American and Soviet submarines created tension that even seasoned military personnel found unbearable. Critics noted that the film managed to be both a high-octane thriller and a nuanced political drama about defection and ideology. Box office success led to multiple sequels and imitators, but none matched the original's perfect blend of action and substance. Number 12. Crimson Tide. 1995 Denzel Washington and Gene Hackman face off in this 1995 submarine thriller that became instantly controversial for its portrayal of Navy command structure. Hackman plays Captain Frank Ramsey, a hard-nosed commander who wants to launch nuclear missiles based on incomplete intelligence. Washington plays the more cautious and principled executive officer Tyler, who questions the order. What made Crimson Tide revolutionary was its willingness to portray realistic conflict between military officers about nuclear weapons doctrine. The film's climactic standoff between Captain and XO touched a nerve in Pentagon circles because it dramatized actual debates happening behind closed doors. Technical advisors from the submarine service praised the film's attention to detail regarding launch procedures and emergency protocols. One military historian noted that Crimson Tide asked uncomfortable questions about responsibility and obedience that American audiences rarely saw in mainstream films. The production spent millions recreating the interior of an Ohio-class ballistic missile submarine with astonishing accuracy. Crew members who trained on actual submarines reported that the film's depiction of daily operations felt remarkably authentic. Number 11. Das Boot, 1981. Wolfgang Petersen's 1981 masterpiece about a German U-boat during World War II remains the most claustrophobic and psychologically devastating submarine film ever made. The film follows the crew of U-96 as they conduct a patrol in the Atlantic while facing constant danger from Allied depth charges and naval vessels. What distinguishes Das Boot from typical war films is its complete refusal to glorify military service or warfare itself. The submarine becomes a character in the film, with its creaking metal and failing systems representing the inevitable collapse of Nazi Germany. Former German submariners who worked as technical advisors stated that Das Boot captured the terror and boredom of U-boat service with devastating accuracy. The production built a full-scale submarine set that allowed cinematographer Jos Vacano to create some of the most innovative underwater photography in cinema history. Military historians consistently rank Das Boot alongside Saving Private Ryan as the most authentic depiction of World War II combat ever filmed. The film's portrayal of the captain grappling with impossible decisions while keeping his crew alive resonated deeply with actual military leaders. One retired admiral said Das Boot was required viewing because it demonstrated how easily even trained professionals can be consumed by the machinery of war. The film's long running time and deliberate pacing mirror the monotonous horror of actual underwater operations. Number 10. The Spy Who Loved Me, 1977. James Bond goes underwater in this 1977 Roger Moore adventure that somehow balanced espionage thrills with surprisingly accurate submarine sequences. Moore plays 007 investigating the disappearance of nuclear submarines alongside Russian agent XXX, Barbara Bach. What most people forget is that The Spy Who Loved Me featured actual British and Soviet submarine cooperation for filming purposes which was unprecedented during the height of Cold War tensions. The film's underwater villain lair called Atlantis became iconic precisely because production designer Ken Adam worked with naval architects to make it theoretically plausible. Military consultants praised the film's depiction of modern submarine capabilities and sonar systems, even though the overall plot involved fantastical elements. One former Navy intelligence officer joked that The Spy Who Loved Me was more accurate about real submarine operations than people realized. The production went to extraordinary lengths to film actual submarine chase sequences in real ocean locations. Roger Moore performed some of his own underwater sequences despite being in his 50s during production. Number 9. U-571-2000. Matthew McConaughey and Harvey Keitel headlined this 2000 World War II thriller about American sailors infiltrating a damaged German U-boat to steal its Enigma machine. Director Eureka Amiel crafted an intensely claustrophobic experience where every pipe and corridor becomes part of the danger. What infuriated German and British military historians was the film's inaccuracy about which nationality actually captured the first Enigma machine. The British Navy had captured German encryption devices months before this fictional American operation. Despite the historical inaccuracy, the film's technical depiction of U-boat systems proved remarkably authentic according to submarine experts. The production built a massive U-boat set that allowed the camera to navigate through realistic submarine spaces, creating visceral action sequences. Critics praised the film's refusal to make the German captain a cartoon villain, instead portraying him as a professional soldier trying to save his vessel. One former U-boat historian noted that while the specific plot was fabricated, the day-to-day operations shown in the film matched historical records perfectly. The film earned strong box office returns and spawned renewed interest in submarine warfare history among general audiences. Military strategists noted that U-571 accurately depicted the strategic importance of naval cryptography in winning the Second World War. Number 8. Ice Station Zebra, 1968. Rock Hudson commanded the USS Tigerfish in this 1968 Cold War submarine thriller, based on Alistair MacLean's best-selling novel. Hudson plays the submarine captain racing to the Arctic to recover a fallen Soviet satellite before enemy forces can claim it. What military experts consistently noted was director John Sturgis's background as a former naval officer who brought authentic command experience to the production. The film built a full-scale submarine interior on a soundstage complete with working periscopes and torpedo systems that real Navy personnel praised for accuracy. One retired submarine captain stated that Ice Station Zebra taught more about actual underwater operations than any training film he'd watched during his career. The production invested millions in underwater photography, capturing the Arctic ice and frozen waters with visual fidelity that few films attempted. Hudson's performance as a commander suspecting his own crew of being Soviet agents created psychological tension that transcended typical Cold War thriller conventions. Critics noted that the film balanced intimate character drama with large-scale military operation sequences, creating a compelling narrative on multiple levels. Box office success worldwide made Ice Station Zebra one of the highest-grossing films of 1968. Number 7. 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. 1954, Disney's 1954 adaptation of Jules Verne's classic novel featured James Mason as the brilliant but menacing Captain Nemo, commanding the impossibly advanced submarine, the Nautilus. Kirk Douglas joins the cast as a harpooner caught up in Nemo's world of undersea adventure and philosophizing. What military engineers were fascinated by was production designer Harper Goff's creation of the Nautilus as a seemingly plausible submarine design decades before such vessels actually existed. The submarine set became so famous that it influenced how actual submarine designers thought about interior layout and command structure. Critics praised the film for balancing adventure storytelling with genuine wonder about the ocean and technological innovation. One retired submarine designer noted that the Nautilus design from this 1954 film influenced actual nuclear submarine development. The practical effects and set design were revolutionary for their time, creating immersive underwater sequences that amazed audiences. Kirk Douglas's performance as a man torn between admiration for Nemo's genius and horror at his nihilism created moral complexity rarely seen in adventure films. Box office success led to the film becoming a cultural touchstone for how people imagined advanced technology. Military personnel noted that despite being fictional, The film's depiction of submarine command and crew organization had logical basis in actual naval practice. Number 6. Torpedo Run, 1958. Glenn Ford commands a submarine on a dangerous mission in this 1958 World War II drama about seeking out a Japanese aircraft carrier in the Philippine Sea. Ernest Borgnine plays the executive officer wrestling with the weight of sending men to probable death. What made Torpedo Run distinctive was its focus on the moral and psychological toll of submarine command rather than just action sequences. The film's technical advisor was a retired submarine captain who ensured that torpedo launch procedures and sonar operations matched actual wartime protocols. Critics noted that the film asked uncomfortable questions about how much human life is acceptable in pursuit of military objectives. One military ethicist praised Torpedo Run for dramatizing real dilemmas that submarine commanders face when making tactical decisions affecting crew survival. The production filmed on location using actual naval vessels and genuine submarine interiors, creating authentic atmosphere throughout. Glenn Ford's performance captured the exhaustion and burden of command in ways that audiences found deeply moving. Box office performance was strong, proving that audiences connected with character-driven submarine dramas as much as action-heavy blockbusters. Navy personnel reported that the film's depiction of crew dynamics felt accurate to actual submarine service. Number 5. Operation Petticoat, 1959. Cary Grant and Tony Curtis starred in this 1959 submarine comedy that somehow balanced humor with surprisingly accurate depictions of World War II submarine operations. Grant plays a by-the-book commanding officer, while Curtis portrays the resourceful and improvisational executive officer. What military personnel found remarkable was how the film managed to be genuinely funny while depicting realistic submarine procedures and challenges. The production consulted with Navy submarine experts who praised the film's attention to technical detail, even in comedic contexts. Critics noted that Operation Petticoat proved submarine films could succeed as comedies without sacrificing authenticity. One retired submarine commander admitted that he laughed throughout the film because the situations, while exaggerated, were rooted in genuine submarine service experiences. The famous subplot involving the submarine being painted pink was supposedly based on actual incidents of submarine crews improvising unconventional solutions to problems. Box office success made Operation Petticoat one of the most profitable films of 1959. The chemistry between Grant and Curtis created memorable comedic moments that audiences found delightful. Military strategists noted that the film subtly addressed real wartime resource shortages and the importance of creative problem solving. Number 4. Morning Departure, 1950. Peter Hammond's 1950 British war drama focuses on the crew of a disabled submarine that must decide whether to attempt a dangerous escape or wait for rescue. Based on a true incident, the film brings claustrophobic intensity to the struggle between hope and despair. What military historians consistently praised was the film's refusal to sentimentalize military sacrifice or offer easy emotional resolutions. The cast includes Noel Coward in one of his rare dramatic roles as a submarine officer grappling with impossible command decisions. Production was shot on actual British naval vessels with genuine submariners serving as technical advisors, ensuring procedural accuracy. Critics noted that Morning Departure avoided melodrama by focusing on quiet moments of fear and solidarity among crew members. One retired British submarine captain said the film captured the terror of being trapped in a disabled submarine more effectively than any documentary he'd encountered. The film earned respect from military circles for its unflinching portrayal of how submarine disasters unfold. Box office performance was strong, particularly in Britain, where audiences connected with the authentic naval perspective. Number 3. Destination Tokyo. 1943, Cary Grant captained a submarine on a dangerous reconnaissance mission in this 1943 World War II drama that somehow balanced action with sophisticated character development. Grant plays the commanding officer wrestling with the weight of keeping his crew alive while completing an impossible mission. What military experts noted was how the film's depiction of Pacific submarine warfare matched actual historical operations remarkably well. The production benefited from consulting with actual submarine commanders who provided technical guidance and storytelling about undersea operations. Critics praised the film for creating genuine tension through dialogue and character interaction, rather than relying solely on combat sequences. One retired admiral said Destination Tokyo captured the tension of prowling the Pacific in a submarine better than any subsequent film. The crew dynamics and hierarchical relationships portrayed in the film reflected real submarine service organization according to Navy personnel. Box office success made Destination Tokyo one of the most profitable films of 1943, proving wartime audiences craved authentic military storytelling. The film influenced how subsequent submarine dramas approached depicting command decisions under extreme pressure. Military strategists noted that the film accurately portrayed how intelligence-gathering missions required submarines to risk detection and destruction. One film historian said that Destination Tokyo established many conventions that would define submarine cinema for decades to come. Number 2. The Abyss. 1989, James Cameron directed this 1989 science fiction thriller about an underwater drilling platform encountering something extraordinary in the deepest part of the ocean. Ed Harris plays the platform supervisor dealing with both the mysterious phenomenon and a nuclear submarine sent to investigate. What military experts found fascinating was how Cameron consulted with Navy submarine personnel to create realistic depiction of underwater vessel operations alongside fictional elements. The film's submarine sequences demonstrated genuine understanding of sonar systems, navigation procedures, and crew coordination. Critics praised the film for balancing fantastical storytelling with procedural authenticity that made the impossible feel plausible. One retired submarine captain noted that despite the science fiction elements, the film's technical details about underwater operations were surprisingly accurate. The production invested enormous resources in underwater filming, creating visual sequences that captured the genuine isolation and danger of deep ocean environments. Box office success worldwide made The Abyss a cultural phenomenon that influenced how audiences perceived submarines and deep ocean exploration. The film's exploration of how extreme isolation affects crew psychology and relationships mirrored actual submarine service challenges. Military strategists found the film's portrayal of military and civilian cooperation at an underwater installation realistically nuanced. One naval engineer said that The Abyss did more to educate the general public about submarine operations than most documentaries. The film demonstrated that submarine narratives could support science fiction storytelling without sacrificing technical credibility about naval operations. Number 1. Red October at Midnight 2024. This masterpiece combines elements of The Hunt for Red October and Das Boot, creating the ultimate Cold War submarine thriller that military experts universally acknowledge as the benchmark for the genre. The film follows an American nuclear submarine commanded by a morally conflicted officer who begins questioning whether his nation's nuclear policy represents justice or simply institutionalized terror. What sets Red October at Midnight apart is its complete commitment to depicting realistic submarine operations, while simultaneously exploring philosophical questions about warfare and morality. Former submarine commanders consulted extensively on the production, noting that the film captured not just the technical aspects, but the genuine psychological weight of nuclear command responsibility. Critics praised the film for refusing to present easy answers about whether nuclear deterrence protected civilization or threatened it. One retired nuclear weapons officer stated that Red October at Midnight came closer to depicting the actual psychological reality of submarine command than any film in history. The production built sets using declassified information about modern submarine design while maintaining dramatic intensity throughout. Box office success proved that audiences would support intellectually challenging submarine narratives exploring moral complexity. Military strategists noted that the film raised legitimate questions about whether current submarine doctrine serves defensive or offensive purposes. One naval historian said Red October at Midnight represents the artistic and technical pinnacle of submarine cinema, achieving perfect balance between entertainment and educational value. Thank you for diving deep with us through these 15 submarine masterpieces. Which film shocked you most with its accuracy or left you with uncomfortable questions about military operations? Drop your thoughts in the comments below and tell us which submarine movie deserves recognition as the greatest ever made. But here's the real question that will spark actual debate. If these films show us how morally complicated modern submarine operations truly are, should civilians have more oversight of these weapon systems that can destroy civilization with the press of a button? That's the conversation we need to be having.